Welcome back to the Tom and D Show. How are you, Tom?
I'm well, man. I had a great week. I got to see my first live IU basketball game since I can remember, and I also got to see my first live IU football game. And it was a beautiful day in Bloomington. I mean, it was like 74 degrees and it was, just perfect outside.
So your first ever, or you didn't go to a game when you were a student?
No, my first in like years. I mean, I haven't been to an IU game since probably the 90s or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
You and I probably went to one the last time.
No, I think my grandpa and I sat it when we had Miles Brand as the president. My grandpa got invited to sit in the press box or, in the president's box.
Yeah.
So we were up there, and Miles Brand's wife was flirting with me. But then, of course, he became famous when he fired Bobby Knight like a week later. So it was like, suddenly she had no interest in me. But it was a great day. I got to see Jamal Meeks, my old buddy and former IU basketball player.
Love Jamal. How's he doing? Didn't he have some health issues for a while?
Yeah, he did. He had a heart attack kind of a thing, and had to deal. I think they put a stint in and things, but he's doing much better.
That's great.
He feels great. I'm going to try to get him on the podcast. I think he's
that'd be awesome. Yeah, I love that idea. Tom and D.
Two middle-aged idiots. But anyway, so it was just this beautiful, getting to see IU sports, and of course, went to Knicks, and I got the sweatshirt to show it.
Love it.
And no, it's been so much fun for me here in Bloomington, and not regretting a thing except for not unpacking more in my studio. The rest of my house looks great, though.
Right.
It really does.
So the smart place to put it is right there in front of the camera.
Exactly. If you can't find a place to put it, stick it in front of the camera.
Where everyone can see your shit.
At least everyone can see my issues, yeah.
Yeah, you don't have dirty laundry out.
No.
At least not literally. Just figuratively.
We'll air some dirty laundry during this episode, I'm sure. Speaking of which, who do you have for us?
Oh my God. It's one of my favorite people in the world. Okay.
That's what you say about every guest.
Well, I have a lot of favorite people, and no one will be on this show unless they are one of my favorite people. And we're actually, we're working together on a project right now, and we've worked together for, I don't know, probably 12, 15 years. I don't know, something like that. He's based in Colorado. Parker Rice, an incredible photographer, videographer. And what's really cool about Parker, besides just the fact that he's a cool fucking dude, is that he has a specialty. Well, he has a lot of specialties with photography, but he has this unique skill set and experience that has to do with something that was recently in the news that sparked the idea of having him on. Have you heard about this interstellar comet?
Yes.
That is like coming through our solar system?
Absolutely.
And by interstellar, meaning that it's from another solar system, another star system, which is very unique. I think this is the only third one to ever have been observed or recorded or known about.
And who knows what minerals it contains? Maybe there's some things like kryptonite, things that, that don't exist on Earth. You never know.
There you go. Right. Exactly. Well, kryptonite, I don't do so well with that as Superman. So, but I want Parker to come on and tell us all about his experience and get to know him and his work. Hey, Parker, welcome to the show.
Guys. How you guys doing? Good to see you.
You got to tell me, what is that behind you for those who can't see, because you're not watching the video portion because Darren forgot to do like the last 20. There is a mannequin behind you with looks like a spacesuit. What's going on with that?
That's pretty much what it is. It's the flight suit from a program that I used to work for called Project Possum. Project Possum was trying to study the mission was to study noctilucent clouds in the way upper stratosphere by taking suborbital flights, which would be very similar to what you're seeing right now with Blue Origin or Virgin Galactic. And these missions, what they would do is they'd launch a spaceship up to just right at space and observe these special clouds that they have a massive impact on our greenhouse gases. stuff. Now I'm a camera guy, so the science was a little above my head, but what I could do is train these astronaut candidates that were going through the program how to use, at the time, 4K cameras were pretty new. So it was training these astronaut candidates how to use these cameras, which were cinema cameras for movies and TV shows that we had. We were training them how to use them to capture and collect data by going up in the mission and filming the clouds from a new vantage point that we usually don't get. So we would put them in these spacesuits, pressurize them, put them in a flight simulator, and stand by as they, because you're limited on your mobility. So they would have to move the tripod, pull the focus on the little dial that we designed, and zoom in and out. This is all simulation from what we were able to get to.
Yeah.
But that's why they brought us on, because we owned these specialized cinema cameras back in 2015. Not too many people had them at the time. So that was our advantage. The founder of the program, Jason Reimuller, lives in Boulder, and he played rugby with my old business partner. So that's how we got into the space world.
Wow, that is
rugby.
so wild. So
that is so cool.
So I have a couple of questions. First of all, why did they call it possum? I mean, did they actually bring a possum up there?
Let me make sure let me make sure I get the acronym right. It's Polar Suborbital Science in the Upper Mesosphere.
Okay, so it's an acronym. Gotcha.
And they had, let me grab the mission patch, because they just sent me this last week, actually. They're like celebrating their 10th year.
That's so cool.
Let me grab that real quick.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, he's grabbing this suit right now, which looks like something that you would see, in the space shuttle or something.
So let's see. Let me make sure it's right. They just sent me this. Funny you bring it up.
Can you push up to the lens a little closer?
Yeah,
I don't know if you'll lose focus, but
wow, I see. It's got the 10 years on there, and then it's got the name.
So it's a really, really cool program. I'm gonna go slap it back on my man back there.
Yeah, you can't be without it. He feels naked without it.
Right.
Really cool program, really bootstrapped, but also real hard science based things. So it was commercial, so commercial space world. It's now you have the government funded agency, NASA, of course, and those entities. This was outside of that. There was a little bit of affiliation, but not direct funding or anything.
So it was almost kind of like someone like the guy who owns Virgin. What's his name? I'm drawing a blank.
Richard Branson. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's someone like him, who put this together and like funded most of it.
Yeah. So what it was is it was educational for astronaut candidates to come through. They would get certification, some sort of certification out after the program that looked great on resumes, and they go into the classroom. We would train them. We do a lecture, sit down and like have our cameras, do a slideshow. But that, cameras are one of those things, like many other things, but you only really get it when you shoot, when you get out and practice. So, we teach the class. I could see a lot of dry, faces just kind of staring. And then once we got them in the spacesuits, and pressurized, that's when you could see all.
Did you get a chance to actually go in that zero gravity room?
So actually, it's funny you asked. We went up to Canada with them. They have, and in Ottawa, we got to go with the actual. I should look up. I could send you the videos later of what we filmed.
Yeah,
but we were with the Canadian. An offshoot of the Canadian space program, I believe. I don't want to get that wrong, but I'll make sure we get that.
I didn't even know they had a space program.
Well, they make the arm on the International Space Station.
Oh.
It's called the Canadarm. I want to make sure also. I'm just a video guy. Anyway.
Right.
But yeah, we went up to Ottawa and strapped in a bunch of the candidates. Every person who goes through the program has an opportunity to go and do the zero-G flights. We were able to rig the cameras, and they call it the Vomit Comet, and quite a lot of footage of some people spewing their guts. But we got these amazing footage of people floating in the air. It's like one girl had a bag of Skittles, and then she let it float, and it would just just kind of careen up, and which is just a wild experience considering I went to film school. I'd always admired the astronaut world and all that, but to get that close to it
Yeah.
was surreal. And the program would bring in speakers too, so I met about 4 or 5 NASA astronauts that would come in. So we'd sit down and work with them. One was Don Pettit,
Yeah.
who is the photographer astronaut that you might see a ton of wild time lapse footage and all sorts of stuff from the space station. That's the guy who shoots all that. And we got to
That'd be
sit
a
down
great
and
gig.
hang out with him.
Can you get that gig when he retires?
Yeah, right. That would be the dream job, especially
No
because
kidding.
they like Nikon and Red Cinema let you pick all the gear you want too. So he's
Right.
up there with these just insane specialized cameras that they send him. He was a really cool guy, really fun to talk to about just seeing an opportunity that no one gets to experience.
No, yeah.
Like in all of humanity, only a few, like maybe 1,000 people have gone to space. So to meet 5 of them,
That's pretty cool.
meet 5 of them at the time. And then here's the crazy thing. I think it's 3 people off the top of my head. I can think of 3 people, but it might be 4 people from the program have now gone to space with SpaceX. So the people that we actually trained did go on to go up to space.
So
That
now
was
you know
surreal
8
to
or
go.
9. So now you
I
met
put her
8
in
or
a space
8 or
suit.
9.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's
Yeah.
such a weird. I mean, photography and video gives you this permission to go places that you can't go as just a regular,
Joe.
without the camera.
Yeah.
People go, "Oh, you got a camera? Come on in." The places that I've gotten, the vantage points at concerts and the vantage points, it just all sorts of crazy events, and now space programs and all sorts of stuff. Just because I had a camera and I was at the right place to talk to the right people.
Well, you got to be good at it and you got to know what you're doing
helps.
with it. And you obviously were training these people on what at the time was new technology. And they said, well, this guy obviously knows it well. And they wouldn't just take someone like me or Darren. Well, they might take Darren, but certainly not me.
Well, the crazy thing
I
was,
would just hire Parker anyway.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it's
We
okay.
just hire Parker.
anytime. But anyway, so what was even more surreal, this is the craziest part of the whole thing, was we were working, this was before SpaceX was what it is today. They didn't have, at least publicly, they didn't have a spacesuit. I'm sure they were working on something, but we were working with another bootstrap company that with a crazy, I mean, I say crazy in a loving way, Russian cosmonaut guy who designed his own like spacesuit glove that won some big grants. So then he built his own spacesuit. This guy built his own spacesuit in Manhattan. I believe it's Manhattan or Brooklyn. And he would come to the program and he would bring his spacesuits. They were a couple $100,000 value, insured for that at least. We bring them in. And because we were directly a part of the program, already in the room with the flight simulators, they trained us how to become spacesuit technicians in the commercial world. Now, they told us, because there's no other commercial spacesuit company, and we were the first to get trained on their spacesuits, my business partner, Van, and I became the world's first commercial spacesuit technicians. Commercial is doing a lot of the work there. There's a million or thousands of NASA spacesuit technicians, but we were the first to go through their program to get trained. We got certified how to use their spacesuits. So we began training them how to use the cameras, putting them in the spacesuits, because one of the things I didn't realize too is those things are all puffed up. You see them all huge and
Right. Like the
that's all
Michelin Man.
air.
Right.
It's mostly air in there, but there's so many safety things that go into it. You put someone in a claustrophobic space, they have a panic attack. You have to watch their vital signs. You got to watch temperature and make sure all sorts of things are going right. So it was more technical and more, critical to be up to speed and doing everything by the checklist, which was cool, really cool in its own right. Just this guy, genius level human, invents a spacesuit, and then he trusted us enough to run with it.
I got a couple of questions speaking about the technical side of things. And you're saying this, design these gloves and thinking about like what they're wearing. Even with just using your fingers without gloves, sometimes operating a camera, which I don't know if it was the red or what you were using, but still dialing in, it's not that easy. But you put that suit on and being able to do that. So do you have a lot of presets? You mentioned like having some sort of special dial. Was that for like focus only, or was it also for like aperture and ISO and color and everything else?
This was 2015. What we have, the tech we have now is so far along that everything that we were using back then would be so obsolete at this point. We were using a red Scarlett MX, which was technically a 5K sensor, but we were using it in 4K, which was, again, crazy. It was not common at the time. Like we see it in our cell phones now. We have 4K, 8K. Yeah. I think my cell phone does 8K if I wanted to. I don't, it'd be crazy to shoot that, but back then 4K was expensive. It was hard to process. It was very limited at the time. And it was crazy. I mean, it was really cool that we had access to these tools. And we're able to put them in, use it in this way. But the actual payload, my old business partner, really likes building things, and he helped Jason design the armrest. So it was all built into this armrest. So you have a pilot on the left hand side, and then on the right hand side you had the technician, whatever you want to call the camera operator. I'm sure we had a more scientific term for
Steve.
Right. Yeah, it was Steve. So we had a tripod arm that you could manipulate it, and then you could set, one dial was zoom and one dial was iris, so aperture, so you could control that. Everything else you had to preset before you took off. And if you got those parameters wrong, it was up to the person operating the camera to know what's wrong. So we had to teach them exposure. We had to teach them fundamentals of
because you can't go over there and just turn a little dial and say, here's what you need to do to
I'm
fix
sure
that
nowadays shot. We could probably have something from the ground that
voice activation. Even.
Yeah. And might even be budget friendly even. Back then, wireless follow focus was the tool that we were using. And this was a big clunky thing. Now they make, I have one that's a thumb dial now that you just you can control it, almost like the, just a little tiny thing this big. But these were bulkier. And we wanted the ones that were pretty known to be reliable. So everything was hardwired in for power. And it's been a minute. I once the program started really getting momentum, it was very clear there were other people who this was their dream to do, become a spacesuit technician and do the trainings and all that. I felt like I was maybe holding a position.
Someone else back.
So we passed it on to other people who were, dying for it. It was just such a crazy opportunity.
Okay, wait, sorry. Just before we get too far away from the tech side of things, I'm just so curious, like, thinking about like what's up there, and like, were there any sort of special like filters that you had to have on for like UV or just or having ND filters, because of the harsh glare? Like, if you can talk through that. And then before I forget, I want to find out if any of those stills or any of the footage is available of anything of the clouds, as well as the spew that
Darren wants
people getting.
If you're gonna spew into this.
We never went further than simulation. The program has, I think, that was the limit of the program at the time. The plan was to grow further than that, but just trying to get approvals is sometimes a 5-year process just to do something. So we shot a lot of cool like cinematic footage of the experience, because we're 2 cinematographers down there training these astronaut candidates. So of course we're filming this, we're lighting it all cool and setting up, bringing lights and just getting real scrappy with it to get some really cool footage of this. So we have shot a lot of footage for the program. As far as filters, we would use a UV filter was the plan, if memory serves me. beautiful thing is you're not trying to get shallow depth of field up there. You're
Yeah.
trying to get a very deep depth of field. So
Yeah.
you would take advantage of being able to stop down. And then
F-15.
if we needed, that would have been fine. And it really, the direction of it mattered too. So we wanted backlighting from the sun so we would shoot through the clouds with the sun behind us. So it would light up nice and clean.
Yeah.
And
Bouncing
scatter the
off
light
of
and give you
the
specular highlights and detail and richness. So as far as filters, it was going to be a UV filter. We had technical reasons for that. It's escaping me at the moment why we weren't using ND filters. I think because some of them color cast and they weren't, again, it was in a spacesuit. You're not going to be able to, if you're using a variable ND filter, for instance, you're not going to be able to reach around and spin the dial. Like, there might have been talks of a polarizer, but again, back then we were only doing it in a simulation. So we were only filming TV screens.
Yeah.
And this was also cool. The simulator actually used to be sitting right over here in the studio when it wasn't in Florida. So the guy rented a little space from us. So we used to have a spaceship simulator like right over here.
God, you should have had a party.
We did.
Cool.
We did. We actually did throw a little party and had a bunch of those people who
they come to pick it up. There's
program.
like popcorn and like beers,
just a little
beer smell, and
beers.
sticky floors.
Smell like an IPA for some reason. I hear space smells like IPAs.
That's funny.
But yeah, it used to be sitting right over here. It was cool. I used to sit. I remember one time landing it. I landed it once. The rest, I crashed the thing 1,000 times trying to land it, but
Right.
I did land it once, and I was like, "Let's do this."
Yeah.
Like, send me to space. I can do both camera and land this thing.
I got this.
1 out of 1,000 times. No, but you
Come
could
on.
actually fire up the simulator when they weren't there. You could just spend all day like going up and down. in it.
It was the guy. He would have been totally fine with that. In fact, he probably would have been thrilled to see us playing with it. I didn't do it when he wasn't there, mainly just because I wanted to learn the process as they would do it if I were to do it.
Right.
But it was just kind of this oddity that we had going on here while we were also running a photo and video company at the same time. So it's just wacky thing. It gave us some cool street cred, I guess. People would always be asking us questions about
How
what
big
you're
is
doing.
this simulator? But how big is it? Is it like the size of a minivan or something?
So they built it up. So these suborbital spaceships at the time weren't huge. They're designed to carry, I think, 2 people and a minimal payload. And there are all sorts of designs. I think Virgin had one, if I'm not mistaken, that was attached to a C-30, a 737 or something, and it would detach and then shoot up from already at 35,000 feet or maybe even higher than that.
So in addition to this experience, what other sort of photography do you do as well as video? I mean, obviously I've worked with you for a long time and I know a great deal of it, but do you do astrophotography too?
It's funny, after doing all the space stuff, I've done just a little bit of it.
Yeah.
Living in Denver, I'm making excuses right now, but there's some light pollution here that just makes it go like,
You gotta
I
go to
really
the
wanted
mountains.
to do it. I'm
Yeah.
going to drive out and
Yeah.
make the commitment. And instead, I do, for my own personal stuff, I chase wildlife a little more. It's very calm and peaceful, and so I just sit somewhere and wait.
Wait for a possum.
Wait for
No,
yeah.
he waits
right?
for a fox. Tell
So
him the fox story.
So the fox, I have two ways of telling this story. One's the truth, and one's the
Embellished.
Let's hear the bigger truth.
All
Yeah,
right.
the embellished.
So I go out deep into the woods in the middle of winter, and I set up a flash, and I set up a laser trigger. So if any animal crosses it, it's gonna snap. And I'm in a bunker that I dug out igloo style, and I'm just sitting, waiting as quiet as can be until the fox comes, and I get these shots, and I'm able to, because it's on a tripod, I'm able to take some additional photos and then composite them all together, and it creates this surreal painting like photo of a fox. The truth is, I I'm at my aunt and uncle's condo up in Silverthorne watching Seinfeld with the fire. And my camera's on the porch, and the foxes, unfortunately, I think all the renters who come in, the tourists and stuff, they feed them. So these foxes know to go to the porches and just sit and stare at you. So as a result, I was able to go maybe 5 or 6 different times and get these. I have one over here. I'll grab it real quick.
So Parker, describe what we just saw.
Yeah. So it's a fox sitting on a ridge line of snow, just an embankment of snow. There's a blizzard going on behind him, and I captured him in kind of a regal pose. I had a wireless trigger for my camera. Like I said, I had a beautiful fire going. Seinfeld on TV. There's always Seinfeld for some reason when I go up there. That gets me in the photo mood. And I just sat and I saw him. He came up, and instead of just firing a bunch, because I have a flash, it's going to scare him, I waited for this moment, and I knew once I got it, I had exactly what I was there for. But what's crazy, if you know photography terms and stuff, that was a 35 millimeter lens, which is it's a pretty wide angle lens.
That fox sort of became his spirit animal in a way. As a matter of fact, you're literally one with it right now. Didn't it become a tattoo on your arm?
Oh, no,
leg?
Not anymore. It was so the original one was we'll get it.
You got it removed?
I got it covered up.
Over.
It's actually covered up.
Okay.
It's going to be hard to see, but it's a chimpanzee in a spacesuit.
Okay, so it started off as a fox.
So now I'm one with the original part of the podcast, the space program. You got to live and adapt. The line work was really off on the first one. Pick your artist. Be smart.
That's
research your artist.
Yeah, you did yours when you were in county one night. Some guy named Bubba. Some guy named Bubba did it in the cell.
Yeah, it was a
ballpoint pen,
a TV remote, and built a tattoo gun for me.
I'd love to hear about some of your other photography and video work that you do.
I started photography in 2005 in high school. But I remember sitting in my friend said, you should take photography. It's really cool. You just it's the easiest class you'll ever take is really what the thought was. So I get in it. I remember they handed they sent us out with, at the beginning of the semester, you got a film camera, 35 millimeter SLR, some, very rinky dink piece of crap. Yeah. Probably had light leaks and all sorts of things. But I remember the feeling of they gave me the camera and I just had this immense excitement about it. Just like lightning, the clouds opened up and the angels were singing kind of moment. And pretty much since that day, I didn't even know what I was doing with it, but it just felt so right to have a camera in my hand. And that was the start of everything.
Wow.
From there. Wow. It was all 35 millimeter film back then. I got obsessed. I mean, I got nothing I had ever done before in my life where I was skipping lunch to go into the darkroom to get extra time to print.
Well, there is a trend now that people are starting to buy those again. Yeah. As a matter of fact, my son, who's soon going to Australia, he wants to buy a film camera, to do stills. And I mean, he's good at.
I agree with it. It's cool, especially with AI stuff coming out right now. I think just having a physical example that this is real life. I honestly think that's not just going to be a trend. I think it's going to be a requirement. I'm starting to think, think of even crime scene evidence. Just how are you going to prove to a court that this is? I'm sure way technical. Someone could easily prove that it was a real photo. But to film,
no, really,
it's going to be the same thing too. But it's going to be. I think weddings are going to be like this too. I think there's going to be a push that film comes back in a big way. And while I do have all the equipment, I even have an enlarger over here. I was going to turn my office into a dark room when we first moved in. Water, you got to have a lot of water flow, and then plans to dispose of the chemicals and all sorts of stuff. And it was just enough of a hurdle. Maybe I'll do it somewhere else.
But I love the thought that with AI and tech getting higher and higher tech, forces us almost inevitably to go back to these low-tech ways of proof that it's real.
We did this. It's a real photograph. Because AI, I don't know, I just this morning saw...
You need a good source that wasn't manipulated.
One of them just I don't know if it was just announced this like today or last week or something, but it's their pro version of one of the AI things. And this was the first time I looked at it and go, I don't know. I can't tell the difference between that and reality. And I can tell. I think I passed maybe 75 to 80%. If you put them all in front of me, I could probably get a solid B plus and guessing which one's not real. I don't know if that's true anymore. It's that crazy rich and crispy.
Yeah, we had a guest on. We had a guest on recently who has a podcast, and he specializes in, people will send him videos or whatever. Is this AI or is this real? And it was fascinating though, because we all see them, and sometimes it's very obvious, but other times I sent one to Darren, and he's like, "This is fake." I go, "What do you mean? It looks so real."
It's scary.
Sometimes you have to just go with
scary,
context
actually.
or knowing who the source is. You have to kind of look at who delivered it, and you can tell that way.
And sometimes it's just common sense. Like this looks like it could have happened, but I don't know. There's not a news article talking about it yet.
Like that guy's really fat delivering the pizza, but there's no way he fell through that big fucking front porch. I mean, come on.
No, that guy who just walked and took off into space from his own shoes. I don't know. It looked pretty good to me. It might be real. Yeah, no, it's getting really scary too. And we could talk about the AI stuff, both from a just professional content creator, if you want to call me that. I would do more, work for hire, less maybe like the Instagram, YouTube content creation. But I don't know where this goes. Some people keep saying, "Oh, it's just another tool for us to use." I don't know if it is going to become so good that why even hire anyone? These AI engines can prompt themselves. I don't know where this is going to go. So that's kind of concerning and spooky just from a professional career standpoint. But from a societal standpoint, that's even, they're both scary outcomes, because I was cool with ChatGPT helping me rework a little bit of a proposal that I'm working on.
Right.
But the full image generation. So,
well, ChatGPT is basically creating drafts for you to use,
which is great. And I fixed those, and yeah.
And then you can humanize it. But there are certainly instances. I just saw something. I don't know what paper published this, but there was a whole article that was published, and they even left in the final prompt from ChatGPT that was saying something like, "Now, would you like me to put that into a more professional language," or however that final prompt was? But they forgot to even clip that out. It's like, come on. They just totally copied and pasted it in there. Just lazy.
Darren and I have talked extensively about this, not only on the podcast, but also, just our own conversations. And I'm a voice actor, and certainly, AI has played a huge role in my industry. But Darren always gets back to saying that, AI doesn't have a heart. They don't have true emotion, and you can direct it to sound happy or to sound deep or to sound like Morgan Freeman.
You can direct for sure humans,
but it's never going to have its own heart, and it will never be able to emote the way that maybe the director wants to see it. Or in your case, you're writing something like a proposal. That's fine. But if you're writing something that has creativity in it, it's never going to have that human element.
I guess my only pushback to that would be, like, I'm on YouTube a lot, and I'll watch, like, for voice acting, for instance, I'll watch a ton of videos, and you go, "Oh, this is a nice sounding voice actor." And then they pronounce something weird.
Right.
And then they pronounce it different the next time that word comes up, and you go, "Oh, this is an AI voice."
Yeah, exactly. Right.
And it has 5 million views. They're getting away with it. That's where I'm worried.
I saw an example recently where it was an AI actor, and they said the word closer. I'm the best closer that there is. And it was supposed to be closer.
Close.
But yeah.
And
but it's like, oh, come on.
You tricked me. I fell for it.
Yeah.
And for me, once that happened, I lose a lot of, I don't know. I look at companies that are using AI, complete generated images, complete generative AI videos for marketing, and I go, "See, I don't trust you.
I don't trust it." And also, why?
especially
Why
if
do
it's
we
like
need that?
the ones that blow me away are like security on like digital security companies that are talking about, these things hacking, don't let your account get hacked. We protect that. But they're using an entire AI marketing plan. And you go, but wait a minute. You're already a fake bot account trying to sell me on something like that's just a scam. It's a scam. It has to be a scam, reality wise.
But going back to your point about doing things on film or
Mhm.
some way of sort of countering that technology and making yourself stand out. I mean, that's kind of been my philosophy over the years with just different technologies in the past or ways of shooting, ways of posting that I feel like has allowed me to stand out.
Mhm.
Everybody's doing this, okay. With the DSLR revolution, everybody got one and then
Yeah,
they were shooting a ton of content and it looked like shit. It
sure.
looked horrible because they didn't know how to use it. It was like, you know what? I'm not going to try to compete with these kids like right out of film school that can do these things like really, really cheap. I can't make a living that way. And I'd rather not make a living. I'd rather, push out a cart and say, welcome to Walmart and make
I
the
was
same
just
amount
gonna
of
say
money.
I would rather pour
Yeah.
cement. I was thinking about it this morning, but like I'd rather pour cement than
Yeah. Right.
just because I just
Yeah.
filmed a video of a cement company recently, and I was like, I get
I think that having that same mindset of just saying, like, this is an opportunity to push back against this. And everyone else is saying, like, embrace it and you got to get on with it. And I
right.
think that there's some truth to that. It is just another tool, but it's also ubiquitous. But yeah, we don't have to embrace it and leading the way that we
Right.
approach things and saying, this is our approach.
Right. Use it as a tool
AI
to help
first.
you in certain
Right.
situations.
When needed, just
Right.
like how we have a drone in the bag now, or
Right. Right.
different lenses or other types of technology. It's like, yeah, it's not the be all end all for everything. I mean,
Or as a holder or something like that.
Yeah.
Like if you say, Tom, I don't have time to have Tom record something. I'm just gonna have this AI voice
Yeah.
over the video just so I have an idea of spacing where
Sure.
to put the video.
Right.
Storyboarding. When we have a project, I just need to explain something to someone. I can type in medium close up, low angle, guy buying pizza in a pizza shop or whatever, and you can get your storyboard out and then swap it with your real actors. It's even getting to the point that you include the headshot of someone, and they'll slap it in. But yeah, my thing is, I made a living as a career commercial photographer and video service cinematographer. I like to say cinematographer because it sounds cooler, but videography. That's been my career, and I'm seeing a lot of the people who I would get work from, this type of businesses that I would get work from, just cut out all production and switch over to this. So you have to pivot. You have to look and go, there are going to be people doing this. And a lot of the companies who weren't going to pay for the production, but might have paid for a small scale production, are now just saying, I've got a kid fresh out of high school who's good at typing these prompts. My plan right now is a pivot into more documentary style work, telling real stories of real people. So that's been what we've actually been having a good time doing that. Those stories can't be done in AI unless you exactly. Unless you really want to not respect your audience. So you still have to go film those things. You might have some efficiencies added to your post, and you might have some efficiencies added, or you will have efficiencies added to maybe what kind of questions you want to ask, or ask ChatGPT, like, what am I missing? Here's my questions. What am I missing?
Well, I heard something just the other day, and I'm not a fan of country music unless it's like Willie or Johnny
I'm with you.
Waylon or someone like that.
Oh, come on, I love it.
Down. But there, apparently, right now, the #1 country song is an AI song sung by AI, music AI, and lyrics AI. And it's the #1 country song right now.
Yeah, it's a pop country song.
Terrible.
Right? Yeah, I got duped the other day too. I rarely use just the music apps radio. I don't use that very often. I'm usually just picking what I want to listen to. It's
Right.
almost always Dire Straits for some reason. I don't know why can't stray from that. But I hit the radio, and it sent me over to this funk cover of some pop song, and I remember listening to it going, this is incredible, these guys must be awesome. And I looked at it and I'm like, I fell for an AI music. I've but it was like, oh, turn it. I mean, I didn't, it was like, I have to respect it though, because it caught me. I was like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Man, this has been so much fun talking with you, dude. We got to have this guy back on again.
I know. Parker,
I got way more
have
stories
so much
too.
to talk to you about with like actual work stuff too. Not only with the projects that we're working on, but some other stuff that ties into your documentary discussion that we had. But we'll talk off air about that. I can't wait because, as you said before, cinematographer is such a cool word, and you are the coolest. Another word that we kind of use in the industry is a shooter.
Yeah, you don't want to say that. Hey, thanks a lot, Parker. It's been great having you on. We'll definitely have you back, dude. It's been fun.
Yeah, Parker, you are the photographer that boldly goes where no photographer has gone before. All right, we'll talk soon.
Talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much.
Thanks for being on.
Yeah, we got to have him back, dude. He's great.
I know. There's so much to talk about, and it's so hard to keep it confined to one episode.
And we didn't really talk about the comet thing.
Yeah, I know. Which I don't know if you know this, but you probably do, because most people do that know me. But I am such a science and astrophysics nerd. My favorite podcast, other than the Tom and D Show, is listening to Star Talk Radio with Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah,
I just absolutely love it. And when I heard about this, I think it's called the 3i Atlas comet that's coming through, I was just totally geeking out, even though it was like just 4 pixels that were illuminated on a screen. It was like, wow, that's the coolest ever.
Well, we'll definitely have to have him back and talk about some of the other stuff. But Darren, it's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun.
Too funny. All right, brother.
All right, dude.
Love you. Later, dude.
Tom and D. 2 middle-aged idiots.
This podcast is produced by 224 Media with voice and audio support by Fry on the Fly Productions.